You will comply with my orders, or else.
Hours.
All right, real quick, for you guys that don't know me, my name's Josh Barker. I served 13 years in the Army, 3 years as a mental health specialist, and 10 years as a Green Beret. I joined because I wanted to serve my country. I take great pride in my country, and I want to be part of the people that have gone before me to protect the rights of this country. So, I got into law enforcement. I've been in law enforcement for about 4 years. I got into law enforcement because I wanted to help people again. I missed it. I got out of the military, and I missed that feeling of serving or helping people. I never once thought I'd be in law enforcement. To be honest, growing up, I was always intimidated by law enforcement. Probably like a lot of people. I never wanted to be that guy that wanted to intimidate anyone. Never wanted to have any kind of power over anyone. And that was an issue I've always kind of struggled with, is feeling like I have this power over people. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. That's not why I went in law enforcement. I know a lot of people did go in law enforcement to have that kind of power. You know, we talk about the high school kids that were bullied. You know, there's some truth to that. But for me, I didn't join law enforcement for that reason, and I still struggle to this day of having that power over anyone. But I wanted to help people. So there's calls where, you know, it's a medical call or an accident or an assault or burglary, whatever it is. If those calls come through, then I'm glad I'm doing my job. I'm glad I'm working, right? Because that's why I joined. I joined for those situations where people actually needed me. And there's parts of the job that people might not think that law enforcement should be doing. But like I've said before, every part of law enforcement has a reason. There's a reason why we do a lot of stuff that we do. I'll cover those in other videos. This video is about something else. I got a comment a couple of videos ago that I felt like it was important to cover. All right, what are your thoughts on people protecting themselves against police who are using unreasonable force, causing serious harm or death, or are trying to enter a home without cause or warrant? This is my biggest problem with police system, is not being able to protect yourself against a fallible human who is given power over others. All right, again, so I covered the power, right? I hate that power. The power that you can basically do what you want. So if you're a bad cop, you essentially can use that badge to do whatever you want. I hate that. And it's ignorant for people to think there's not bad cops out there. It's also ignorant to think that there's not good cops out there either. There's people that genuinely just want to help people, and there's people that genuinely don't give a fuck about people. So you got both sides of it. To cover it, I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers with this one, but I think it's good. It's a good discussion to have, and I'm giving my opinion on things. First of all, I never thought I'd be covering cop videos. I was using this platform as a cop to talk about mental health, because that's what I'm passionate about, is mental health and self-improvement. That's my passion. I've only been a cop for 4 years. And you don't know shit at 4 years. Because you deal with shit sporadically. You don't deal with the same shit every single day. Your bigger cases, you rarely get those. You know, you might get a domestic couple times a month, depending on where you're at. You might get a burglary once in a while, but you don't do it enough to get really good at it unless you've been in law enforcement for years. So that's why they say you're new until you hit after 5 years. After 5 years, you're not really considered new. But then again, the law is always changing too. So once you feel like you got a grasp on something, it changes, right? So, and with that being said, my first 2 years was a very small department. It was just to get my feet in the doors of law enforcement, and very small department, which means I didn't do a lot. It's not to say I didn't, you know, we just didn't get the calls. Not to say I wasn't doing my job, we just didn't get the calls. So, you know, really, I've only been in law enforcement 2.5 years. Very new still, and I'll admit that. I don't know shit about a lot of stuff in the cop world, but I know a lot of shit about common sense and tactics, which is lacking in our society. Common sense doesn't seem to be as prevalent as it once used to be. So when I made my cop videos, I got a lot of feedback. I wasn't anticipating it, but I'm glad it happened, because again, I can use this platform to maybe shed some light on both sides. I still don't consider myself a cop, right? Like, it's one of those things, like, am I really a cop? I never anticipated being a cop growing up, never once. If you would have said, Josh, you're gonna be a cop later on in life, I'm like, fuck you, dude. No way. Military, I knew I was gonna do that at 11 or 12 years old, but never a cop. Just, you know, something I just didn't think about. Didn't, like I said, like the power, whatever. So that was a little backstory. So what are my thoughts on people protecting themselves? Again, I'm gonna ruffle some feathers with this. Probably on both sides of the thin blue line, right? So I believe in basic human rights, and I believe in the rights and the freedoms that I fought for in the military. And I fought for the same rights getting deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. I was fighting for the rights of other people. Trying to figure out how to word this. Trying to figure out how to navigate around this. You should comply with cops. Common sense says, hey, if someone's telling me what to do, just do it. Even if it's unlawful, you can go after them later on. Again, I'm gonna ruffle some feathers. I'm saying this, I'm coming from a place where I don't want to see people get hurt. And bad cops, and if they're doing something unlawfully, bad cops are looking for reasons to fuck you up. And I'm not saying there's a lot of cops out there like that. I don't know. There's no way of me knowing. You can say there's 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 bad YouTube videos of cops, but there's probably just as many YouTube videos of good cops. You're gonna find what you're looking for. If you're looking for bad cops, guess what? You're gonna find it on YouTube or the news. But if you're looking for good cops, you can find that on YouTube as well, just as easily. So don't give any reason for a bad cop to be bad or to be worse. Comply. And I'm saying this because I don't want to see people get fucked up. If they're doing something wrong, just comply so they don't fuck you up. However, if you truly feel like they will seriously hurt you, or you feel like death is imminent, You do what you gotta do. And I'm gonna ruffle some feathers on the other side of the thin blue line when it comes to the badge. If you feel like what they're doing is going too far and you feel like you're complying and they might seriously hurt you or kill you, that's extreme, but guess what? It's happened, so I'm going there. Then you do what you gotta do. You do what you gotta do to protect yourself. Because there's a lot of bad cops out there. There's a lot of bad cops. I'm not even gonna say a lot. In comparison, there's over 700,000 law enforcement officers out there. 700,000 in the country. And you might have, let's say 10, if there's 10% of bad cops out there, that's still a big number, right? So if there's cops that are just looking for an excuse to pull a trigger or just to fuck somebody up, don't give that to them. But if you think it's gonna happen, do what you gotta do, right? But still be compliant, if that makes sense. So if they got a chokehold on you, or if they're just wrenching your arm to the point where you feel like they're gonna break it or whatever, in that short incident or in that short situation, if you gotta do something to get yourself out of that situation, then do it. So for example, I'm a law-abiding citizen. If a cop were to have me in a chokehold and I felt like I couldn't breathe anymore, I'm gonna fuck him up, right? I'm gonna do what it takes to not die. And you have that right. But once I get out of the situation where I'm gonna die, boom, compliant, right? Hands up or on the ground, whatever. I'm not giving this dude an excuse to shoot me or tase me or whatever. And if it goes to trial, then it will show that you're trying to be compliant. This dude was being out of control, whatever, and you did what you had to do. But just know you will have your, even if you disagree with what's happened, you know, he did something unlawful, he did something unconstitutional, just comply. Because he could be looking for an excuse to fuck something up. He had a bad day. We're humans, right? Even cops, I know it's strange. We're humans. And let's say he's going through divorce, or he had a bad breakup. Someone just died. His mom, his dad, his kid. You don't know what the fuck's going on, right? But it still affects him. But he still has to go to work. So he's dealing with this stress. And all he's thinking about is this stress all day long. And if he got into a fight or whatever, he could be more enraged. And now you're dealing with someone that's motherfucking you or in your face. He's looking for a reason to get that aggression out, maybe. And I'm not saying there's a lot of bad cops that are like that. But like I said, even a small percentage of that 700,000, you don't know which cop you're dealing with, but a small percentage of cops that are bad out of 700,000 is still a lot. So just comply and do what you got to do to protect yourself, to save your life. See what else we got on that message. Same thing if they had a search warrant and you felt like, let's see, or enter a home without a cause or a warrant. Comply. I know it's shitty to say it. Comply. And then once it's done, then try to go after them. And that's through the legal system. Get a lawyer, get a good lawyer. And if you felt like your rights were violated, then go after them. I know a lot of people are probably going to bring up qualified immunity, and with qualified immunity, I'm gonna let you guys know how I feel about that.